Being a catcher in Major League Baseball isn't just a position. It's a test of grit, endurance, and leadership. These players are the backbone of the team, commanding the field while building unshakable bonds with their pitchers. But who are the greatest of all time? Today we're counting down the top 10 Major League Baseball catchers who not only mastered the game, but changed it forever. Let's kick things off with number 10. Number 10, Gordon Stanley Mickey Cochran, aka the Black Mike. Imagine being so good at baseball that you win an MVP and a pennant as a player manager in the same season. That's exactly what Mickey Cochran did in 1934 with the Detroit Tigers. And just to flex a little more, he followed that up by leading the Tigers to their first ever World Series title in 1935. But Cochran's greatness wasn't just about managing. Before Detroit, he was the heartbeat behind the plate for the Philadelphia A's dynasty from 1929 to 1931, snagging 2 more championships. His career batting average, a cool .320. The man rarely struck out, only 8 times in over 600 plate appearances in 1929. Let that sink in. Number 9, Mike Piazza. Whenever Mike Piazza stepped up to the plate, all fans beholding him must surely hold their breath. They knew that one swing from him could change the game. That's what it felt like every time Mike Piazza dug into the batter's box. A 62nd round draft pick. Yes, 62nd. Drafted as a favor to his dad, and yet he didn't just make it to the big leagues, he owned it. Piazza's skills go beyond just a catcher. He was among the best hitting catchers in baseball history. We're talking about a career batting average of .308, 427 home runs, and over 2,100 hits. His OPS, a jaw-dropping .922. In 1997, he hit .362 with power numbers that could make any pitcher lose sleep. Doff your cap for the 12-time All-Star, 10 Silver Sluggers, National League Rookie of the Year, Hall of Famer. Number 8, Buster Posey. When you think of dominance behind the plate, one name echoes through the diamond: Buster Posey. 3 World Series rings, an MVP and Rookie of the Year honors, and he's not even 30 years old yet. That's not just a career, that's a legacy in motion. Posey's journey with the San Francisco Giants since 2009 has been nothing short of spectacular. His trophy case, stacked. Rookie of the Year in 2010, MVP in 2012, 4-time All-Star, and 3 Silver Sluggers. And oh yeah, did we mention those 3 World Series championships in 2010, 2012, and 2014? Statheads, feast your eyes. A .309 batting average, a .374 on-base percentage, a .483 slugging, a .857 OPS with 935 hits, 113 home runs, and 489 RBIs as of mid-2016. But Posey's greatness isn't just in the numbers. It's in the intangibles. Pitch framing, finesse, clutch leadership, and that quiet consistency that makes winning feel routine. Some say he's Major League Baseball's Tim Duncan. Understated, efficient, relentlessly excellent. Despite the commercials and accolades, the average fan might underestimate just how impactful Posey has been. But make no mistake, he's been the cornerstone of a dynasty, the heartbeat of the Giants. Number 8, Gary Carter. Let's take you back to the 1986 World Series. It was Game 6. The Mets were down to their final out. The crowd was anxious. But who stepped up? Gary Carter. Like a magic wand, he was a phenomenon that triggered a rally that became one of the most legendary comebacks in baseball history. That's who Gary Carter was, the heartbeat when the pulse seemed to flatline. But don't get it twisted, Carter wasn't just clutch in the spotlight. Long before his Mets heroics, he was the pride of Montreal. anchoring the Expos with power, precision, and passion. Between 1974 and 1984, he was the catcher, redefining the position in the post-Johnny Bench era. A cannon for an arm, quick reflexes behind the plate, and a bat that delivered 324 home runs, and oh, that smile. They didn't call him the Kid for nothing. 11 All-Star appearances, 3 Gold Gloves, 5 Silver Sluggers, 2-time All-Star MVP, and finally, the Hall of Fame in 2003. It took 6 years, but really, Cooperstown should have welcomed him on the first ballot. His numbers, solid. His leadership, unmatched. His love for the game, uncontainable. Think about it. Walk-off homer in his Mets debut, game-winning hits in not one but 2 NLCS series, 2 bombs in Game 4 of the 1986 World Series, and that rally starting hit in Game 6? Yeah, that was Carter. Number 6, the legend, Ivan Rodriguez. Do you think you know how great Ivan was in his prime? Talk of a catcher so dominant that trying to steal a base felt like a bad decision the moment you took off. That's Ivan Pudge Rodriguez for you, the human highlight reel behind the plate. He didn't just defend bases, he owned them. Over 50% of runners who dared to steal against him were sent back to the dugout, questioning their life choices. And he did that not once, not twice, but 9 times in his career. Rodriguez wasn't just about the cannon arm. His bat did plenty of talking too. A .296 career batting average, 2,844 hits, 311 homers, and 1,332 RBIs. Yeah, he could swing it. That OPS of .798, solid. But his real flex was versatility. How good was he then? Try 14-time All-Star good. Add 13 Gold Gloves and 7 Silver Sluggers to that trophy case, plus an MVP award in 1999. His defense, legendary. His offense, clutch. Durability, off the charts. 16 seasons with 2 or more wins via WAR. That's consistency you can't fake. Number 5, Carlton Fisk. Fisk's passionate body language, practically willing the ball to stay fair, captivated an entire nation. But the fact is, Fisk wasn't just a one-moment wonder. The man had grit. He spent 24 seasons crouched behind the plate, battling through the grind with the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox. That's not just longevity, that's defying time itself. Imagine catching until you're 45. Most players are long retired, and Fisk was still throwing on the gear like it was nothing. Now, for the numbers crowd. 376 home runs, over 2,300 hits, and 1,330 RBIs with a career OPS of .797. But stats only tell part of the story. Fisk was Rookie of the Year in 1972, an 11-time All-Star, a Gold Glove winner, a 3-time Silver Slugger, and eventually a Hall of Famer in 2000. In terms of WAR for catchers, he's right up there with legends like Johnny Bench, Gary Carter, and Ivan Rodriguez. Maybe not the flashiest per season, but when you play as long and as hard as Fisk did, you don't need a flash. You've got a legacy. Counting downward to the greatest of all time is another legend who lived a life of legacy. Number 4, Roy Campanella. 3 MVPs in odd years, 1951, 1953, and 1955. That's Roy Campanella's legacy. And it's not just about the hardware. It's about who he outperformed. Stan Musial, Eddie Matthews, Duke Snider, Ernie Banks, and Willie Mays. Legends, all chasing Campy's shadow when it mattered most. With the Brooklyn Dodgers from 1948 to 1957, Campanella wasn't just a catcher. He was the heart of a team that finally broke through for a World Series title in 1955. His career stats, a .276 batting average, 242 home runs, 856 RBIs, and an OPS of .860, a powerhouse behind the plate. But fate hit hard. A car accident before the 1958 season left him paralyzed, cutting short a career that was still burning bright. Maybe that's why history doesn't shout his name as loudly. We've had Johnny Bench, Gary Carter, Pudge Rodriguez, and Buster Posey, but none of them can erase what Campy did. 3 MVPs, 8 All-Star appearances, and a Hall of Fame legacy sealed in 1969. Number 3, Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra, one of the oldest legends, wasn't just a player, he was the Yankees' heartbeat. He didn't just show up, he dominated, winning 10 World Series titles with the Yankees, more than any other player in Major League Baseball history. That's not luck, that's legacy. Now, let's talk numbers, because Yogi's stats are jaw-dropping. 358 home runs with just 414 strikeouts in his entire career. Think about that. He went deep almost as often as he struck out. In today's game where strikeouts are through the roof, that's almost unthinkable. Only he and Joe DiMaggio pulled off the feat of 300-plus homers with fewer than 500 strikeouts. That's not just consistency, that's mastery. And here's the wild part. Yogi wasn't always in the highlight reel. He's the guy leaping into Don Larson's arms after the perfect game, arguing with the ump as Jackie Robinson steals home, or staring from the outfield as Bill Mazeroski's homer sails over the fence. But behind those iconic moments was a player who defined an era. From 1949 to 1958, Yogi hit 257 home runs and only struck out 250 times. Those numbers just don't tell a story, they scream greatness. Number 2, Josh Gibson. Call him a power hitter or a force of nature. The man they called the Black Babe Ruth didn't just smash home runs, he dominated both at the plate and behind it as a catcher, a position Babe Ruth never touched. His career in the Negro Leagues with the Homestead Grays and Pittsburgh Crawfords was nothing short of legendary. 6 championships with Homestead and a jaw-dropping career slash line of .350, .401, and .624. That OPS, a staggering 1.026. He crushed 107 home runs and racked up 351 RBIs, numbers that make you wonder, what if he'd had a chance to face Major League Baseball pitching? Some say his power wouldn't have translated, but based on what his peers witnessed, many believed he was the best player of his time. Sadly, Gibson passed away in 1947 at just 35, right as baseball was opening its doors to integration. Number 1, Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench is a legend who truly redefined what it meant to be one. If you're looking for a player with a power to launch balls over the fence and the arm to gun down runners without breaking a sweat, that was Bench. His signature one-handed catching stance, it wasn't just flashy, it was revolutionary. Everyone tried to mimic it, but few could pull it off. From Rookie of the Year in 1968 to back-to-back World Series titles with the Cincinnati Reds in 75 and 76, Bench racked up accolades like it was second nature. 10 Gold Gloves, 14 All-Star appearances, 2 MVPs, and a Hall of Fame induction in 1989. With 389 home runs and over 2,000 hits, Bench wasn't just a part of the Big Red Machine, he was its heartbeat. When Morgan and Rose got on base, Bench was the guy pitchers feared next. A cannon for an arm, a bat with serious pop, and a career OPS of .817, he was the total package. And there you have it, the top 10 Major League Baseball catchers of all time. These aren't just players who wore the gear, they were game changers, redefining what it means to control the diamond from behind the plate. From offensive powerhouses to defensive maestros, they combined grit, skill, and leadership in ways that left lasting marks on the game. But here's the thing, Lists like this always spark debate. Did your favorite catcher make the cut? Did we miss someone you think deserves a spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get the conversation going. Ensure you hit that like button, subscribe for more baseball content, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next deep dive.